Welcome to ChildFolio Training. This training video is going to cover everything from the first time that you launch the app all the way through the full usage of all the features. To get started, we'll begin here at the login menu. ChildFolio has two primary functions: sign in as teacher, sign in as student. And for this video, we'll be only signing in as the teacher. So by selecting that blue bar, we're then prompted to put in our login information. Once we've entered in our username and password, we can then press the blue sign in to be taken into a sample classroom. The sample classroom that it brings you to is an area where you are free to experiment with uploading moments, try adding children, and basically mess with the configuration so that you can test things before altering your actual classroom. This screen that we're currently on is the Moments feed, or the home page for ChildFolio. By scrolling up and down on the moments here in the middle, we're able to see all the evidence, all the anecdotals, the children, and the ratings for the moments. On the right-hand side of the screen, we have the classroom filters. The groups, located up top, are configured by the users. Below that, however, the children, they will always be there even if there aren't any groups active. By selecting a child, ChildFolio will filter all of the moments to only those that include the child that you selected. For example, with Billy, we can see a counting vehicles activity, but if we select Dan, we're brought to a gardening activity. Selecting any groups that we may have set up will filter to only the children that were placed in those groups. For example, afternoon group here has Emily and Sierra, where morning group contains Billy, Dan, and Julia. To begin adding moments, we're going to start with the purple plus icon in the top right corner of the screen. By selecting the plus icon, we are brought to the Add Moment page. From here, you have four options of how to upload media for your evidence. The red icon indicates the camera, where you may upload up to 5 pictures at a time. The orange icon is the video camera, where you may upload up to 5 minutes of continuous video. The green icon will allow you to upload any pictures and videos that you might have saved on your device, such as if you were using the iPad like a camera instead of doing everything through ChildFolio right away. And the last icon is the microphone icon. By selecting the microphone, we actually begin to record the audio, and you are able to attach that to your assessment, to your observation. On the microphone controls, the pause icon will temporarily stop the recording. The check mark will complete it and attach it to the moment. So for now, I will just be adding some pictures that I already have saved on my device. So by tapping to select, I can tap between 1 and 5. For now, we'll just go proceed with 3. And so there we have our evidence now attached to the moment. So below the media uploads, we have a tags field. Now the tags field does come pre-populated with some projects, learning styles, so on, preset tags that you can choose to attach to your moments. The tags are there to give you a quick indication of what this project was, or for quick reference when you return to look for those specific moments. You also have the ability to create custom tags here, with an option for new tag at the bottom. Right now, I'm going to select kinesthetic and apply that to our moment with the check mark. Below the tag, we have the Add Note field. Inside of the Add Note field is where we would put our anecdotals, or any kind of notes that we wanted to attach to the moment. I'll just be putting in a quick word choice there and closing the keyboard. Next to the note is the Add Private Note, which really comes into play once we begin to share moments with parents, with family, and with other teachers. Anything that is entered into the private note field will not be visible by any parents that you happen to have shared the moment with. Only your teachers and administration will be able to see it. On the right-hand side of the screen, mirroring the moment's feed, is the student selection menu. From this menu, we can choose to filter by our groups. We can select all of the students at once, or we can tap the individual children that this applies to. If your classroom has 1 student, if your classroom has 20, your choices are still the same. You can choose as few or as many children as applied to the moment. So now that we have our evidence added, we've taken a quick note, and we've chosen our children, we can go in and we can now tap on the ribbon to attach skills to it. Now, at the time of recording this video, we are California based, and here we have California's DRDP rating and framework. The format, however, will look the same regardless of where you are in the world. The domains for your standards will be these blocks that are all separated. By tapping on a block, you expand it and you load all of the skills contained within. On the left-hand side of each skill is the gray icon. By tapping on that, you will actually load all of the examples that pertain to that skill directly from the standards or from the framework. And then to add a skill for your assessment, it's as simple as tapping on the skill that relates. You can see on the right-hand corner, SED1 has now applied, and the children now have markers and Billy has a scrolling wheel. So by scrolling up and down, we are able to apply a rating for Billy. I can then tap on Emily. I can do the same for her, and do the same for Sierra again by tapping on her. But because an activity never applies to just one skill, you also have the freedom to select multiple skills across multiple domains so that you can fully assess the children on that activity without having to go back, make a bunch of changes. Everything is contained within one menu. So now that we have some ratings applied for our children, we're going to go ahead and finalize the add skills with this check mark in the top right corner. And now we have everything we could hope for inside of the moment. So to finalize it, we'll be pressing submit in the top right corner. After a second, we're able to see the moment populate into the moment feed. We can scroll across to see our evidence. We can tap on one of the pictures to load that full view to get a better look at what's happening. And of course, we can see our note and the icon for the private note. To view the private note, simply tap on the small notebook and it'll drop down at the bottom. Now, if you did want to share with parents, you actually have 2 ways of controlling that. Every moment has an options menu, indicated by these 3 dots in the top right corner of the moment. By selecting that menu, we're given a full range of controls, from editing to deleting. For sharing with parents, we would simply tap the Share with Parents icon, and you can see that the eye that is next to the 3 dots has now gone blue, indicating that this moment is visible by the parents attached to the children. If we want to remove that privilege, simply tap on the options again, select Don't Share with Parents, and the icon has returned to gray, meaning they're no longer able to view it. Inside of the moment, if we return by using the Edit feature, we also have a switch at the top called Shared with Parents. By default, it will always be off, but you can toggle that on to do the same thing as the Share with Parents button outside of the moment field. So now that we've gone through creating a moment, the next step is to keep track of everything. to see how our classroom is performing and to see where we as educators need to focus our lesson plans. So in the top left, there's 3 bar icons. By tapping on these, we open the menu for the classroom. We were currently in the Moments menu, so we're going to tap on Reports to get a look at everything that's going on. Inside of the Reports menu, any frameworks or standards that you have attached to your classroom will be visible along the top and will scroll left to right, and all of the children in the class will be on the left-hand side and can scroll up and down if your classroom size is large enough. The middle view then becomes a grid. The colored boxes indicate the level of rating, so the darker the color, the closer it is to the header, the higher rating that a child was given. The lighter the color, the lower the rating that the child was assessed at. And the numbers inside the boxes correlate to how many moments a child has for that specific skill. For example, Billy has 1 on Cog 1. We can actually tap on that box to view that moment that he is tagged in and see, this is why I rated him low, assess him again, and improve that score. To return to the Reports menu, we can use the X in the top left corner. Any boxes that are gray, like Billy's Cog 7 here, indicates that he was not rated for that skill, but he was in a moment that had that skill attached. So again, by tapping on that box, we can see, and we bring back to the vehicle counting activity where he was attached to Cog 7, but it wasn't rated. If we wanted to apply that rating, we could use the Options menu to go back into Edit Assessment, and we're given the option to finish that rating. Submit, and we now have a filled-in box for Billy on Cog 7. Additionally, if you wish to get a more in-depth view of how the children have been progressing, you can tap on the children's names on the left-hand side to load up their individual rating report. From inside this report, there's a quick breakdown of all the domains and the skills, paired with the number of moments totaled, and a recommended column. Now the recommended column will look at your ratings and give you the highest average of how they've been performing. So the final rating column next to it, you can come in and put in your official rating. To track growth, you can also select each skill as a drop-down menu. By selecting ATL Reg 4, we're able to see moments as they were rated, when they were rated. So we can see that Billy, while he started at exploring earlier, over time he progressed to building middle, and at the next rating for this skill, he was still building middle. To close the individual skill report, you can tap on the drop down just like we did to open it up. You can close it from there, and we can look through the rest. When you're all ready to leave, there is an X in the top left corner that will take you back to the main menu for the reports. A second report contained in the ChildFolio app is the Tag report. By selecting Tag at the top, we're taken to a new view where we can see all of the tags that are in the system, along with all of the children. This view will give you a quick look at how many times you have tagged an activity for a child. For example, Emily here has 6 kinesthetic moments, and if we tap on that 6, we'll be taken to all the moments where that tag was applied. And using the same controls, we can press the X in the top left corner to be taken back to the tag report. If we go back into the main menu for ChildFolio, the next option we have is Notifications. Notifications will alert you anytime there are changes to your classroom, such as teachers being added, new children being added, or any kind of moment posting if you have student or parent sharing enabled. During the first configuration of the app, you'll probably notice a few notifications popping in. To clear them, you can actually tap on them when they're blue. Otherwise, you can use the clear option in the top right to clear all those notifications. Going back into the menu, the next option that we see is Approval Needed. Inside of this menu, you'll be able to approve or reject any moments that you don't find suitable for your classroom that were shared by either students or parents. Going back into the menu again, the last option we have is Manage Class. Inside of Manage Class are all of your classroom controls. You can change your class name, change the grade level, the site, and the framework. However, you cannot change. Once your classroom is set up, those two are locked in. The class group below is where we have the option to create the groups that we saw, the afternoon group and the morning group, and assign any children to them or create a new group. These menus all have internal wizards, and there will be additional support guides going into more depth on these. Returning to the Manage Class menu, we see we have an active rating period and a manage rating period. From these menus, you'll be able to apply your current rating period or your current school year. The options below go into more depth on the other versions of ChildFolio. You're able to allow or disallow student access, and the same with parent access. If you ever need to modify anything about your tag settings, you have those options below. The next tab at the top is the Teachers tab. Inside of the Teachers tab, you'll be able to see all teachers that are attached to your classroom, along with have the option to invite any teachers that may want to join or who you want to share things with. The next tab along the top is the Students tab. Inside of the Students tab, you have the option to add one child at a time, to add multiple children, or to modify profiles for the children already existing. For example, if we tap on Billy's name here, we're able to correct the spelling on his first or last name if it was entered incorrectly, and by tapping on the icon up top, we can actually assign different pictures for him. Once you've made all your changes to the child's profile, you can use the Submit button in the top right, or use the back button in the top left to discard your changes. The last option here is the Parents tab. As parent sharing becomes enabled and parents connect with their children, you will be able to see which children have parents attached and how many parents are seeing those moments with their children. For example, 3 family members are attached to Emily, so those 3 family members will see any moments you share that contain Emily. Navigating back into the menu, underneath Manage Class closer to the bottom is the option to create a new class, which will load a wizard to walk you through the process, informing you of everything necessary to create the classroom. At the end of the process, you will be able to go in, add your children, and get started. The very bottom option is the Help Center option. By tapping on Help Center, you will be redirected to ChildFolio's support website, where you're able to tap on the field that pertains to you and find some handy support guides on how to use ChildFolio. When you're ready to return to the app, you can tap in the top left the back arrow and go right back where you were in ChildFolio. At the top of the menu, there's a small gear icon. When you tap the gear, you'll be given choices for settings, help, and to log out. If we look inside of settings, this is actually your account settings. So if you wanted to change your first or last name for the display, for managing archived classes, you can go in, choose to delete or restore a classroom. If you would like to change your password, you can select change password and modify that off the default to your choice. And you also have notification control, device information, and app language. If you would like to set a picture for yourself, you can do so just like the students by tapping on that circle above and choosing from the photo library or your camera. If we look at the help option now, the help option will actually load a live messenger that goes straight to our office team. From time to time, we will push important update notifications, send you some handy support guides, or check in to see how you're doing through here. By replying, you can talk directly with us, and if you have any problems, you can also choose to start a conversation with us. To close this menu, there's an X in the top right corner, which will take you back into ChildFolio where you were. But the nice thing is, when you receive a reply, you will be able to access that from anywhere in the app. It will notify you, so you don't have to go looking for it. And then the last option that we have is, of course, the option to log out. This has been a quick video guide on how to get started with ChildFolio from start to finish, so thank you for watching the video today, and of course, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask.